Marked by brilliance and secrets, Christopher Marlowe's life was as dramatic as the plays he wrote. From a great writer to a tragic end, Christopher Marlowe's life was full of mystery. Some even said he was a secret spy. Today, we explore the bold and exciting story of this famous poet. Early life. Christopher Marlowe was born in Canterbury, England in 1564. His father, John Marlowe, was a shoemaker, and his mother, Catherine, was the daughter of a man from Dover. He was the second of 9 children and became the oldest after his sister Mary died in 1568. Marlowe was baptized on February 26, 1504, just 2 months before William Shakespeare. At 14, Marlowe won a scholarship to the King's School in Canterbury. 2 years later, he went to Corpus Christi College at Cambridge University, again on a scholarship. People expected him to become a Church of England priest, but instead, he focused on his studies and earned a bachelor's degree in 1584. Marlowe was especially skilled in Latin and read many Roman authors, including Ovid. Rumored degree. In 1587, the university almost refused to give him his master's degree because of a rumor that he wanted to travel to France to become a Catholic priest, something that was illegal at the time. But the Queen's Privy Council suddenly stepped in and ordered the university to give him his degree. They praised him for his good service to the Queen, though they didn't explain what that service was. Mysterious career. After getting his master's degree in 1587, Marlowe moved to London and started writing plays. He quickly became famous for his powerful writing and bold ideas. His first big success was Tamburlaine the Great, and he followed it with other well-known plays like Dr. Faustus, The Jew of Malta, and Edward II. But while he was gaining fame as a writer, Marlowe's personal life was filled with mystery. Some people believed he was secretly working as a spy for the government, which might explain why the Queen's officials had once supported him. He was also known for having unusual ideas about religion, which got him into trouble more than once. Marlowe the Spy. England during Marlowe's time was a very dangerous and confusing place. There were many secret plots, religious fights, and spies everywhere. Queen Elizabeth I ruled England, but she faced many threats. She was Protestant and had stopped people from practicing Catholicism after the Pope kicked her out in 1570. This made many Catholics angry, and some of them planned to kill her and put Mary, Queen of Scots, a Catholic, on the throne instead. One such plan was called the Babington Plot. Some people, including the poet Ceadioc Tichborne, were caught trying to kill the Queen. They were punished very harshly, hanged, drawn, and quartered, which was a very cruel way to die. The public thought this was too cruel, so the Queen changed the punishments for the others to simple hanging. Besides these plots, England also faced danger from other countries like Spain, which tried to invade but was defeated in 1588. Because of all these dangers, Queen Elizabeth had a very smart and secret spy system led by Sir Francis Walsingham. He created England's first official secret service to find traitors and stop bad plans before they could happen. Marlowes Role. Christopher Marlowe was a famous playwright who worked for Lord Strange's acting company. Lord Strange and the Earl of Northumberland were important men, but they were also connected to secret Catholic plots. Marlowe was linked to them too. In 1592, Marlowe was accused of being part of a plan to make fake money, which might have helped Lord Strange's claim to the throne. Marlowe was never officially charged, so some people think he might have been working secretly for the Queen as a spy. Marlowe's spying career started when he was a student at Cambridge University in the mid-1580s. Educated men like him were valuable spies because they could read and carry secret messages. Sometimes, Marlowe took long breaks from school, which were probably for spy missions. Some people even thought he was a secret Catholic because of these breaks. The Queen's Privy Council had to send a letter to Cambridge saying that Marlowe was loyal and working for the Queen, not for the Catholics. Even though the Queen's government said Marlowe was loyal, some historians think he might have been a double agent. someone who worked for both sides at times. Marlowe also became friends with men connected to the Catholic underground, which made things more complicated. One of these friends was John Poole, and another was Ferdinando Stanley, Lord Strange, who became a symbol for Catholics hoping to take back the throne after Mary, Queen of Scots, was executed. Blasphemy, charges, and arrest. Religion was very important at this time. Saying or writing things that insulted religion was dangerous. Marlowe's plays sometimes upset people because they seemed to question or mock religion. He was also known to live a wild life. For example, he once joked that men who didn't like tobacco and boys were fools, which was shocking back then. In May 1593, someone posted threatening poems around London attacking Protestant refugees from France and the Netherlands. The poems were written in a style similar to Marlowe's plays and signed Tamburlaine, the name of one of his famous characters. The Queen's government took these threats very seriously and arrested people they thought were responsible. One arrested man was Thomas Kidd, another playwright who had shared a room with Marlowe. When a secret and heretical paper was found in Kidd's room, he said it belonged to Marlowe. Kidd was tortured and under pressure, so he told the authorities that Marlowe made blasphemous jokes about religion and even said Jesus had a relationship with St. John. We don't know if Marlowe really said these things because Kidd was forced to say it. Marlowe was ordered to appear before the Queen's Privy Council on May 20th, 1593. He wasn't put in jail, but had to check in with the council every day until his trial. But before that could happen, a chain of strange events began to unfold. Mysterious death. On the evening of May 30th, 1593, something unusual happened at a quiet boarding house in Deptford, a riverside area in London. 4 men were there: Christopher Marlowe, Ingram Fraser, Nicholas Scarras, and Robert Poley. At first, everything seemed normal. They spent the day together, had lunch, walked in the garden, and later gathered for dinner. But after the meal, things took a sharp turn. Marlowe and Fraser got into a heated argument over something simple: who should pay the bill, or, as they called it back then, the reckoning. According to later reports, the fight escalated. Fraser claimed that Marlowe grabbed his dagger and attacked him. Since Fraser was sitting between the other 2 men and couldn't get away, he said he had no choice but to defend himself. During the struggle, he got control of the dagger and struck Marlowe above the right eye. The wound was fatal. 2 days later, on June 1st, 1593, a legal investigation called a coroner's inquest was held. It included Fraser's own statement, which was used as the only eyewitness account. The court accepted his version of events and ruled the act as self-defense. Within a month, Fraser received a full royal pardon, and just like that, the case was officially closed. But many people were not convinced. That's because the 3 men who were with Marlowe that day weren't ordinary guests. They were all linked to Queen Elizabeth's secret spy network. Fraser worked for the nephew of the Queen's spy master. Scarras and Poley were already known as government agents involved in exposing plots against the Queen. Even more suspicious, all 3 men had shady reputations. Scarras had a history of tricking people through money scams. Poley had criminal ties and once said he'd rather lie than say anything that might get him in trouble. And Fraser clearly had every reason to defend himself in court. A murder conviction meant execution. Because of all this, many historians believe there was more going on than just a fight over dinner. Some say Marlowe might have been involved in spy work himself. In fact, his mysterious connections and sudden death led to wild theories over the years. People came up with all kinds of wild stories. Some claimed he faked his own death and secretly wrote Shakespeare's plays. Others, like the writer Francis Meres, spread another version, saying Marlowe was stabbed by a jealous servant over a shared lover who may have been a prostitute. One scholar, Charles Nicol, called the 3 men a profoundly slippery trio, suggesting that Marlowe's death may not have been a simple accident or self-defense, but something far more complex, possibly tied to espionage and secrets we still don't fully understand, public reaction, and reputation. News of Christopher Marlowe's death spread quickly across London. To some, it was a tragedy. To others, a warning. Fellow writers like George Peele called him the darling of the muses, and Thomas Dekker imagined his soul resting peacefully. Michael Drayton said Marlowe had a rare gift that reminded him of the very first poets, and Ben Jonson later praised his mighty line. These were not casual compliments. They came from some of the greatest minds of the era. Even William Shakespeare seemed influenced by him. Themes and styles from Marlowe's works like Dr. Faustus and Edward II echoed in plays like Macbeth, Richard II, and The Merchant of Venice. In Hamlet, the dramatic speech about the Trojan War closely mirrors lines from Marlowe's Dido, Queen of Carthage, and in Love's Labour's Lost, Shakespeare slyly included a character named Marseide, believed to be a tribute to Marlowe's Mercury from the massacre at Paris. But not everyone admired him. Marlowe had a sharp tongue, bold opinions, and a reputation for challenging authority. He spoke openly against religion, lived freely, and often found himself in trouble. Religious writer Thomas Beard called him a barking dog and saw his violent end as divine justice. In The Return from Parnassus, a Cambridge play from 1598, the writer described Marlowe's work as a gift from heaven, but said his actions were a curse from hell. Still, those who knew him personally remembered him fondly. Writer Thomas Nashe called him poor deceased Kit Marlowe, and publisher Edward Blount dedicated Hero and Leander to Sir Thomas Walsingham, one of Marlowe's closest friends and supporters. Conspiracies. Now, no one really knows why Marlowe died so suddenly. Some think the government secretly arranged his death to stop him from causing trouble with his dangerous ideas. Others believe someone feared what Marlowe might say at his trial, maybe revealing secrets about powerful people involved in heresy or other crimes. Marlowe had connections to a group called the School of Night, which included famous thinkers rumored to believe in atheism and magic. Maybe someone wanted to silence him because of this. Another idea is that Marlowe owed money to some dangerous men, and a debt fight turned deadly. Some even say Marlowe faked his death to escape punishment and secretly wrote the plays credited to Shakespeare. But this story doesn't fit well with what we know about Marlowe's character. Christopher Marlowe's funeral and burial. Christopher Marlowe died on May 30th, 1593, in Deptford. Historical records show that he was buried the following day, on May 31st, 1593, in the churchyard of St. Nicholas Church, located in Deptford, a riverside district in southeast London. The burial was conducted without public ceremony. Parish records confirm the entry of his burial, but do not provide details about the funeral itself or any attendees. No formal tomb or headstone was erected at the site, and the precise location of his grave within the churchyard remains unknown. Over time, much of the original churchyard has been altered, and any original marker has been lost. The absence of an elaborate funeral or gravestone may be attributed to the circumstances surrounding his death, which happened after a fight and a court investigation with many questions around it. Marlowe's burial was carried out in accordance with the standard practices of the time for individuals who died under sudden or suspicious conditions. For centuries, there was no physical commemoration of Marlowe at the site. However, in the 20th century, a memorial plaque was later installed inside St. Nicholas Church, acknowledging his contribution to English literature. The plaque includes his name, profession, birth and death years, and a short line recognizing his historical significance. Official state or royal involvement in his funeral or burial has not been recorded. Likewise, there is no evidence of any literary or cultural tributes made during the burial itself. The funeral was modest and conducted without widespread notice. Even though we don't know much about the details of the funeral, the church's burial record is the only trusted proof that shows when and where Marlowe was buried. The end of a great poet. Whatever the truth may be, Christopher Marlowe's death marked a sudden and tragic end to the life of a fearless and gifted writer. His story is a powerful reminder of how dangerous and shadowy life could be in Elizabethan England, especially for those who lived at the crossroads of politics, religion, and art. His legacy endures, not only through his works, but through the mystery that still surrounds his name.